Nice. I liked it.
I liked it too. It was fun.
Good. I am fun.
You are fun. You're a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I don't think I need to try to have fun with you.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I mean, there's a difference between like pushing you to like different things or pushing myself to like different things. Because I know I'm going to like different things if I try new things. It's just about taking that step. But I feel like sometimes I might have trouble having fun, but because I'm making myself have trouble having fun, like when, for example, you're just putting on a funny show or something that you like, because it's not of something that I enjoy, I might start being a little bit snobby, whatever, you know. But definitely, I try to change that. I try to come into it with an open mind, so that I can just kind of enjoy it. And even if I don't, within a couple episodes, I usually end up liking most of the things you put in front of me. So I think that's what changed my opinion a lot. Just like seeing that I actually like more than I think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Are we recording?
We are, but this doesn't have to be part of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if I could stay quiet for a bit more. I'm like, wait.
Yeah. I mean, personally speaking, I don't mind having like short bursts of nothing on the air. That's fine by me. It's not something that stresses me out too
We
much.
can edit it.
And even if it's not edited, it's just one of those things. I just want to put stuff out in general, and I think that someone out there might get something from it.
Yeah.
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 I remember when we first started hanging out about like the whole show thing. You were a little bit of a hater when you would when I would like put on like shows that weren't like 100% what I was putting before. And so I'm like, even I'm taking a risk putting this on, and if you don't like it, then that's cool. But it was very rare for us to switch a show.
Yeah, I remember there was even one point where my monkey brain, like my wires got crossed, where like because a show was on Hulu and it was premiering at the same time that it was premiering like on the networks, you couldn't get the episodes, and then because I was expecting to watch that show, like I was like, well, we're not gonna watch it, and then I was just like upset, like what the fuck? I thought we were gonna watch. What's going on? And then it was a whole thing. Mind you, that was a show that when you were putting it on, I was just like, why are we watching this? I don't want to watch this. And then it was like, oh, I would really like this show. So it goes to show you.
Yeah. I'm glad you're open to watching new things and with me too.
Yeah. Well, you've actually changed like the landscape of the stuff that I actually enjoy. And by that I mean, obviously, for people out there that don't know Steph as much, she's a big horror fan. So it's one of those things where you made me a big horror fan now, because like even if I don't want to watch a movie, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be watched for sure. Like I'm gonna watch it. Like I'm almost drawn to it now, because I know that you enjoy it, and I know that I'll enjoy watching it with you, even if it's something that traumatizes me a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, movies like Hereditary, those types where I'm like, dang, okay, that's something.
Yeah, Hereditary. That one did traumatize me the first time I watched it. Well, the thing is that I didn't finish watching it um the whole day, you know, like I started watching it like maybe like around 2 p.m. or like no, like around 4 p.m. in the winter in Coachella. And so the dark was coming early. And then so my mom asked me to go pick up something at the store, and it was like right after that one scene where it was really traumatizing,
Yeah.
like after the party.
Oh, so wait, you stopped it right after that to go to the
The
store?
store.
Oh.
And then like so like mentally like I don't know what that
Yeah.
movie did to me or does to us, but like it felt raw.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
had
It's
experienced something, like I witnessed it, which I did in the film, you know, like
no, but it's so strong. I agree with you
it's so
completely. Yeah.
striking. Like and so with after that one scene, you know, I'm not trying to give spoilers on here, but also it's been out for
It's
some
been,
time.
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, then go watch it.
yeah, but I mean like if you're not into PTSD, you can still listen, you know.
I think that I didn't I wasn't I was extremely shocked when I watched it. It
Yeah.
was something that like hit me hard, but when I first mentioned that movie to you, you were like, "I will never watch that movie again."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, I guess I'm not watching that movie because I don't want to watch it by myself." Like, but then eventually you came around. You're like, "I'll watch it." You know,
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll show you and Adrian. And then I think you and Adrian were there together, right?
I'm pretty
We
sure
went
at
to
your
my
house.
parents' house.
Yeah,
We put on Hereditary, and I was kind of like on the side, like thinking, I'm like, okay, was this really as scary as I thought it was? As traumatizing as it left me? And like the whole family dynamic is what left me kind of raw, because it was just like the way the mom expressed her grief process to the son. Like that was strong in itself, because it's like it's literally true. Like she's like, I don't know what to feel about what you've done. Like I don't know what to say because we've never been through this, and it's not your fault, but it still fucking sucks that it happened, you know?
I wonder. I mean, not to get too into it, but like, I just wonder, like, if the son ever explains what actually happened, because like, after everything unfolds, you're just like I also wouldn't. I would like not know how to feel about the whole situation. Like, how did this happen? What, like it's just insane. I wish we were reacting to that movie. It'd be good to just watch that movie
Yeah.
or
I'm
clips.
yeah. Well, I would probably need a little like we would probably want to do it in the daylight for me. And I think what tripped me more about the movie is that like it was like a cult based type of thing that was going on in the background, but it was still very much like the family that didn't pay attention to the signs or like what was going on, because they
Hmm.
were just like so deep in grief. And it's like, yeah, people in grief like will probably end up doing some weird shit or like seeing some things or like getting involved in things that they might not know they are.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I mean, I haven't dealt with as much grief
Yeah, no,
in my life
same
as
here.
like many other people out there, but if it happens to me in moments of anger and like in moments of anxiety where I do really crazy dumb stuff, like I'm sure that in moments of grief I have experienced grief, but like not grief where I feel like I can actually call it grief to that extent.
Yeah. I think the biggest grief for me was, which is kind of sad, but it's like when dogs died, the ones that my family's dogs had, because
Yeah.
for me, it's like, you know, with having ADHD and like depersonalization, like that, you kind of stop connecting to people, or like you don't feel like you can connect to people. So the one thing you can is like dogs sometimes.
Yeah.
And dogs like desire for that connection too. Then so obviously you and the dog are like besties, because it's like, well, we're in this shit together. Like, let's have fun. And then like after that, I just like when one of the dogs passed when I was really young, his name was also, he was like a tripod, like fat, fluffy German Shepherd. And he was like so protective of me that like it would like make me feel so much like safer when, you know, weird men would pass by and stare at me, but he would go up to them and bark and like look like he was gonna kill them. But for me, that was like oh, there is safety, there is protection there. Like I feel the love from the dog.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to make me like, who doesn't want bad things to happen to me? He's like, this is my property, this is my baby, I'll eat you. And so when he passed, like I experienced like grief where like I felt like I was just alone and like I had no one.
Like around what age was that?
I think I was 11. I
Okay.
was in sixth grade or like a little bit before sixth grade. And I know I wrote a poem about it in sixth grade, and kids kind of looked at me
Oh.
funny, like, oh my God, look at this dumb
Oh,
bitch crying over a fucking dog.
I would want to read your poem.
Yeah, it was sad too. Like, my teacher was like, oh my God. Like, I felt like he was kind of cringe for me. Like, he felt that because he was just like, ugh. Like, you got an A for what you wrote about the fucking
He's like,
dog.
you hold strong, Stephanie. He's like, Jesus Christ.
You have very strong feelings, Stephanie. It's okay.
Oh,
Ugh. He was so nice about it
that's
to
a sweet
me.
way to handle that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just hard for me because I'm like, my friend's really gone. The few
And
things I connect to.
you were pretty close with like in general dogs, but I feel like animals in general, you've always kind of like enjoyed having them around, right?
Yeah, I love animals. I'm like, I love that they're such intelligent beings. They have so much value, like to teach us, and we could learn from them, like how they learn about kindness from us, like behaviors. It's like, and also like they don't have the same logic we do, or they don't communicate the way we do, but we can learn a lot from them, and we can learn about ourselves and like how we treat people, and like, well, if animals don't even do this, why are we doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Were you ever exposed to like any animal cruelty when you were young? Like, did you ever see any or?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Same here.
yeah, I mean, like just seeing like Mexican man like kind of like pick on dogs, or like the way they like
Yeah.
treat them is so brutal, like, and I'm just saying Mexican men because that's who I grew up with, you know, who we grew up with, so it's not like a stereo, like I hope it's not a stereotype, but like I've seen like grown Mexican men like just adore animals, and they're just kind of like, oh, I have a thing that loves me back, what the fuck, you know, how cool.
Yeah.
And so like they're you know, I don't want it to be a stereotype of like Mexican men hate dogs or something. It's just like a specific type of person that we just happened to be around that just did not like animals like we did.
Yeah.
And so with that, it would bother me to see like them pick on the dogs or them treat them like shit, or like, but the dogs would be like wanting that love, wanting that
Yeah.
adoration from them. It's like, why are you like treating me this way? Why do you chain me up and like keep me back here by myself? You don't think I'm fucking scared?
Oh.
Like I'm supposed to be in a pack, bitch.
That
Like
reminds.
why the fuck did you get a dog for?
We used to have a little Chihuahua. Her name was Cookie,
Oh my
and
gosh, I heard about her being so chubby.
yeah, she didn't used to be. She was just like a tiny little Chihuahua, white belly, brown like back. Yeah, she looked
Yeah.
so. She was so cute. Um, she wasn't a barker like where she would bark at everything like most Chihuahuas that are super nervous. And she was an outside dog, but she was
Oh
kept like in the back area in her own
yeah.
corner, and it was fenced off. And it was fenced off by like chicken fencing, like
Yeah.
little with the little holes in it. And it's like this bitch would fucking with her only her arm, she would like climb all the way to the top, and then she'd just be over the fence and be like,
Because she was
like
tired.
just like with her, and she'd still be like wagging like crazy, like especially when we'd come home, she'd
Oh
just be
my
like, "Come on, open the door."
god.
It was so
That's
adorable.
so sweet.
Yeah, she we gave her to an aunt of ours once she got older, and she was very 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 well fed, and there she got really really big.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I loved seeing that like the dogs love my dad sometimes, and he would be kind of like a little aggressive with him just
Yeah.
to like discipline him, but like it kind of taught me about how I need to talk to dogs that don't listen. But at the same time, like the way he like went about it in other ways were kind of like uncomfortable for me to like do to the dogs. And then so eventually I like would get mad at him, like stop talking to them like that. They have feelings.
What he's
He would just be like, "Vete a la chingada,"
yeah, I
like
can
fuck
imagine.
off, you know. And I'm just kind of like, someone has to say something, okay? Like,
You got to stand up for this.
I'm like, these are animals. They did nothing to you. Like, why would you treat them this way? And I'm like, they're an extension of us because of us, and like we stuck together. Why aren't we more responsible or kind? And
Yeah.
it sucks because we need to be, but at the same time, it's like, what are your limits?
Yeah.
And
In my household, we had a lot of like where we would find animals on the street, and then we would beg to have them, and then they would say yes. But neither we weren't like we didn't have really like the knowledge of how to take care of animal, and like the tools to do it, and my parents also didn't really have like a way of knowing
oof.
that stuff properly. So but they would let us keep it, and then because we didn't have like the right litter boxes for cats, for example, they would poop all over the place and make a mess, and then we'd end up with situations where like one day the cats are gone, and then my dad just put them in a box and left them in a fucking like parking lot in front of a Taco Bell.
Oh,
And it's like he tells you that, and as a little kid, I never thought much about it. I was just like, what the fuck, you know? But
yeah.
you move on, and like now I think about it, I'm like, oh, that probably affected me more than I expected.
Yeah, because it's like it
Yeah,
just made you feel like anything you enjoyed was just going to be a problem that was going to be thrown away without your
yeah.
notice, and you just had to accept it.
I, also though, like I've had some weird because before that I had an experience where, and I think I might have mentioned it to you before, where it was all like I was really young. I was like 9 or 10. It was like right in front of my house. These kids were like riding scooters, and it seemed, yeah. I don't know if it's like a little too graphic for the podcast, but
Trigger warning.
trigger warning. This is extreme animal cruelty that I saw as a kid.
Okay, continue.
Um, yeah. So it was right in front of my house, like the tree that's like right on the sidewalk that passes near my house, right in front, and by the driveway. And these kids were on scooters, like driving back and forth on the sidewalk right there, like by the tree. And it looked like they were like running over like a fruit or something that might have fallen off the tree. And I mean, doesn't seem like a big deal at that time. I'm a kid. Like I don't know those kids, funny enough. They're from like I recognize them. They're from our neighbors. Our neighbors were always like tagging up stuff like at our house, sending us like death threats written in crayons and stuff like that. And it was all because we cut our grass and like had like nice-ish cars, and my dad washed them every week. We were in an area that was a little bit ghetto, like it was really low income. And their place got raided like 2 3 times. Crazy stuff. Anyways, I'll backtrack to the actual story. It wasn't a fruit they were running over. They were running over baby birds that had like literally just hatched, and they were just like you. When I looked down to see, like they were, I just saw like beaks, and then like as the kid ran it over one last time, like the just guts like blowing up and stuff, and then like I just started screaming. I was like, "What the?" Like at that time I wasn't cussing like that, but it was just like something that really hit me hard, and like I started pushing those kids, and like just like I was just so pissed, and they just like backed away and like laughing like nothing happened. But I also think because of that experience, it really conditioned me to not really know like how to feel about animal cruelty to some extent.
Because it's so normalized.
It's so, yeah, it's like it's a traumatizing thing, and I see other kids my age doing it, and I'm just like, oh man, like no, no, but like it's just like so confusing for one.
No, and it's true. Like for me, it's like, after watching like serial killer documentaries so often and seeing that that's one of the symptoms, it's like taking pleasure in the pain of like creatures. Like it's one thing to kill a cockroach, it's another thing to like mess with it and like extend the pain and cruelty in a way. Or like
Yeah.
with like rats and shit, like if your kid is like I'm scared if we have a kid, like if that's gonna be it, like am I just gonna abandon him like at a fire station? Because I'm like, I don't know, I can't deal with a serial killer child, but then
Oh.
like he might come back for me, or she, whoever they are, and then be like, you abandoned me, so I kill you, and I'll be like, you had no feelings anyway. Why are you taking this personally,
I feel
bitch?
like you're describing Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. Deep cut anime reference. Continue. Sorry.
Anyway, no, I'm just like over like analyzing like my participation as a mother with a kid who might be cruel to animals. And then like as little kids, not all little kids understand like how to take care of animals. And then like there's a point where they do understand like when they're being cruel, or like maybe it's like that like violent versus like playing.
Yeah.
Like I do see like little kids, and I remember being a dumbass little kid and like messing with little animals and like playing with them and like
Like
not
the
grabbing
little.
them right, or like not playing with them right. But the thing was that bothers me now looking back at that, it's like there was an adult there when that happened. Like they didn't tell us what not to do, and if they did, they should have taken the animals away from us. And I feel like people need to do that to understand like small creatures, like the way you take care of them, it's gonna lead to like how you treat people. And like a lot of people I don't think understand how important that is. Because like it literally like helps people like under like dehumanize other people to kind of be able to allow themselves to take pleasure in torture and
Yeah.
like unusual cruelty, like it's a lot. And so like sometimes I like have like this little over anxious imagination that like if we have a kid and they start like cutting up cats or something, I'll be like,
Oh,
babe, we need to we need to talk about Kevin.
you know,
We need to talk about this boy, this buddy of ours.
and it's crazy because I've also experienced like guys, like friends of mine that I like their older brothers would do horrendous shit to cats,
Yeah,
like
it's always cat.
in the same place. Yeah, I don't want to go into detail, but like literally things like, I mean, they'd be going into detail,
More trigger warnings.
more trigger warnings. Yeah, like they'd put cats in the freezer and just like let it freeze, and they would put a cat in a bag and
Oh,
just like bury it, and then
oh,
they would like put a cat in a bag and just like throw it all the way in the air and just like let it smash the ground. Like I only got to see one or two of those instances, but then they would describe other times, and I'm like, you did it. Like I don't have any doubt that you actually did what you're saying you did. But yeah, this was all when I was like just really young. So it just kind of shows you too, like as as much work as I have to do, like a lot of people that I was like interacting with, they had like
a lot of fucked up shit
a lot
going on
of
in their head.
exactly like because like for kids to get to that point, like even if they're like 3 or 4 years older than me, they're in like high school, I'm in middle school, like it's still like you must have a rough home or something rough going on for you to get to that. Or unless like you're saying like it's just like a luck of the draw. I'm sure some genetics are just predisposed to things like that.
Yeah, and it
But I hope our child doesn't.
no, and for me, it's like a lot of these things are like horrible crimes against just animals or like in people, like people and with and kids, like who were murdered or whatever. It's like you have like when they start doing it to animals or they start thinking about it, that's like a need for intervention. Like that's like, okay, what have we shown you that makes you think this is okay? Because you as parents have to see like what have I been exposing them to?
Yeah.
Like what have I done? Taking that responsibility is like this is why I think people like shouldn't all have kids because like having a child is so much responsibility because you're raising a human being who's going to be an active character out in society, and once they leave your home you're expecting them to like be able to succeed or like like the best you can do as a parent is just like seeing them being able to succeed and like what I'm assuming parents like feel,
Yeah.
since I'm not a parent yet. It's like you would want them to like be able to take care of themselves and you should want them to. But if they're out there like just like ending up being like predators, like going out and killing people, hurting people, or like
Abusing
animals,
people. Yeah.
abusing people, hitting people, like verbally being aggressive with them, like that takes a lot of psychological toll on someone because it's like someone's actively using their mind to like make you feel like shit. And like no one really wants to defend that because everyone's supposed to have like this like guard up to like hold your feelings. Like it's like why are they talking to me like that in the first place? What in their sick fucking mind do they have to do to like start calling me like a cunt in the middle of the street when I'm just walking by?
Have you had something like that happen?
I've
Where
had people like call me shit like on the street and like I've been harassed, it comes with the territory of like looking like a woman and like being kids and like being little kids who are girls. Like I've had people scream like so many things, but anyway, like what goes through those people's head that they think like I'm gonna call this bitch a cunt. The fact that you're calling me a bitch in your head in the first place is probably like the problem.
yeah.
Like if you actively hate someone and you like want to hurt them or like you want to rape them, like what makes you think in your mind that's okay, and what can't you like get that like maybe that's wrong? Like I wish there was people who like consulted with friends or consulted with private people like
Well,
underground, like asking them like, is it okay for me to think I want to kill these people? And then obviously the answer is no. And then they'll explain to them like it's wrong because you're taking this person's life without their permission and you're creating this whole scenario all for yourself. And it's like, well, how as a society can we move on if you're just thinking of your fucking self? You're not even thinking about the other people, and that's what's wrong with you. That should have given you the sign that you are not okay because you don't give a shit about someone else and how you're going to affect them. And what makes you think there's some like why are you like adding to people's fears in society? Like you should want to be good to people. You should want good for other people.
yeah, I mean, it's like the more good you do, the more good there will be out there, right? It's
Or
just
the good you think of people, you know?
that's true. I mean, this isn't like necessarily the same thing, but like as you say that, it makes me think. Sometimes I hold on to resentment, like with people in my life, and like I could really let go of all that stuff. Like that doesn't really have to be there. Or like sometimes in the moment, I might be thinking like if something's in my way or someone's like just kind of wrong rubbing me the wrong way in the moment, I'll be like really upset and like I'll be saying certain things. This upset version of me is just like kind of on a tangent, but then later on I'm like that's not actually me
Yeah.
saying those things.
Yeah,
It's
and
like so like being aware of that has helped me too.
that's really good. And it takes a lot of growth to do that. And there are people out there who will never even admit that they have a wrong like thought in their head. They just like they think of themselves as like, oh, I just say it how it is. It's no big deal. Like I don't give a fuck about babying everyone and holding back on their feelings.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I just need to tell people the truth. It's like if someone told you this truth that you think this person needs to hear, how would you fucking feel about it?
And what is real maturity like? Being able to say everything that comes into your mind, or being able to limit yourself and like really choose your words wisely. It's not like someone saying like step on eggshells. It's just like there's a certain way of behaving.
Yeah, like for me like I do have a moment where I know I have a level to like reach up to where I reach like I feel full maturity. And this is something I need to work on. I just need to be put into more scenarios to apply it. It's like I feel like real maturity is being able to think what you think, taking the time to analyze it and seeing how valuable it would be for people to receive this in order for the good of humanity.
Yeah.
It's like you're thinking as a community, but you're also thinking about your own survival there as well. There's nothing wrong with being like selfish, but there is something wrong with being selfish and like not wanting to participate in your community. Like the way I mentally participate in my community is like you can do it in little gestures. It's just like little things that lead to big things.
Well, you're an amazing personality. Like you're always very much full of like positivity, in my opinion. Even even with your dark like humor and all that stuff. Like I just think that you alone add a lot of light to the like dark world out there, for not just even for me specifically. Like you have a lot of value in that way.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
I was gonna tie another thing together there, but what were you saying before that?
I was just thinking of ways people could do like their own way of community service. Like
Well,
for
you all that's where I was going with that. You also donate blood, and you've actually gotten me to donate blood, and I feel like that's actually one legitimate way to give back to just like as a human being. Be like, there's nothing absolutely wrong with donating blood,
mm-hmm.
and like literally, at least for me, like it's become something I enjoy doing so much. Within a week or two, like you get that message. It's like someone's using your blood at this hospital. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's so sad how it goes by so fast.
It goes, and you can't donate for so long
Yeah.
too. So it's like they use it really quickly, and then you have to wait like 4 months or so, right?
Yeah. Well, that's for like the one that you had been doing with the double red cells.
Oh, 2 months for the regular.
For the regulars, on average, 2 months or like 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we're gonna get text messages soon.
I got mine as of late, so yeah, we should do like a vlog.
Yeah, but what I was saying for a little community service, like the blood donation thing, like that's another thing, but that you can do. Like I would encourage you to donate blood, but I will mention that it's pretty fucked up if you're a gay man, and I definitely agree that gay men shouldn't be excluded just because they have sex with gay men, because regardless they still fucking
Yeah,
test the blood. They test it for me every time, and I just seem like
and
I've
that's
never had sex with gay men. I've never had sex with a man who sleeps with other men, unfortunately. So I haven't had to like check that off and feel that
but that's so
disadvantage,
true. Like, because they make you fill out that little thing, like
survey.
the survey right before, and it's so true. Like, why? I feel like that's such a dated prerequisite.
It's really homophobic too.
Very homophobic. Yeah, very homophobic. That sucks too, because like I have gay men and gay women in my life that I would want to encourage to donate blood, but it's like just because of that, they might,
Yeah,
you know, or at least gay men, right? Because it's like specifically asking about gay men.
specifically. Or
Like,
just men who have sex with other men.
okay. And that's the whole,
Gist of it. Like, it really is that. It's like, well, if you didn't have that characteristic, or like if you didn't technically sleep with a gay man, like you think, like, oh, well, I'm safe. But if you are the gay man, and like they changed the requirements this last year or like the last 2 years because of COVID.
oh
And
yeah,
like, I hate that they did this regardless. Like, it's like it would go from like, I think like in the last 12 months or last 8 months, have you had sex with a man who's had sex with other men? Or have you had sex with a man? And they changed it to 3 months, but it's like, why don't you just eliminate it altogether? And like it was almost like a victory, but also kind of like, well, it's still fucking there. What's the point of
what is the
having
point?
like remove that restriction? Because it's like you still need blood. People are dying.
Yeah,
People are fucking dying, and like you want to put this limit on having like a lot of people within your population like just be like not included in that like mission. Like that to me is sad, because it's like if you have like sex with a gay man, like, and you're a gay man, and like you want to sleep with men, like it's okay. Like it's
yeah. There should be because
like you shouldn't have to, like as a straight man, you don't have to sacrifice your sex life there to donate blood. No one's ever asked any of you guys to do that. Or like women, for me, like no
yeah,
one's ever removed that like mission, like my, like I haven't had to sacrifice my sex life for that,
yeah,
to be able to fucking help.
yeah. They can't. They're just excluding them
And
like
it's so much
completely.
blood.
Yeah. It's so much blood.
It's so much blood
It
you
is.
can
It
get.
is. Damn, I imagine just like blood everywhere on the ground.
Yeah, it just makes me feel like there's executives out there who are just like, or like people in the cities or like the government's like, nah, there's not that much many people dying that we need the blood that desperately. So, I mean, we don't want all the Christian families to come after us just for this, like let's make it 3 months.
I wonder
And
I wonder if it's something having to do with like the testing that they do, because they do quite a bit of testing.
they have to.
They have to, exactly. But what if the AIDS test, cuz that's like the only thing I would imagine, like that's it's a whole, I feel like it's a misconception, but I don't know what the statistics are, but just like the whole misconception that gay men specifically like are more affected by AIDS,
Yeah,
or at least that they carry AIDS, right? Like that's a whole
exactly.
thought
Because like
coming from like
women
the
could be
80s.
affected just as equally.
Yeah, exactly. So like I don't know. There's no point to it.
Yeah, there's no gist to it, because it's like people are dying.
I like that you pointed that out though, because it's something that, look, we were just advocating for donating blood, and I'm still advocating for donating blood.
Absolutely, me
Like
too. Like I encourage.
I'm not saying like, or we're not saying
I
that.
convinced an additional character who can donate blood into the roster.
I'm happy to. It honestly, I feel kind of in like the that day, if I do it
Mm-hmm.
early in the day or in the afternoon, like of course I need to rest and I need to eat plenty. We've seen how bad it can be when I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But like the next couple days, I personally feel like invigorated. I feel like, I don't know, it's something about like losing that blood makes your body kind of step into like, kind of like get into gear. Kind of like you feel like this rush a little bit.
Yeah, you're like I bled.
I bled.
today, and
Yeah.
I chose to do it. And like, it feels nice that you at least like participated in the mission. It's like, well, this is a little thing I can do. I'm healthy. I have the ability to like I have access to healthcare to make sure that I'm healthy, like I'm part of that air that like privileged people, that I can donate. And I would encourage that. But in addition to doing that as like your community service, you well, part of your community service there could be you encourage people to donate blood, or like you can make it a date, you can make it like a lunch date or a brunch. Like, I don't condone drinking like after donating blood, but it does
No,
hit a lot faster.
don't say don't say that.
We'll exclude that. I'm not a doctor. Don't do that. Don't do that after donating blood. Maybe it's a sip, but like no, but you'll save money and lives.
Oh,
What I was saying with that is that like you can encourage people to donate blood, but other acts of community service, you could do it in your house. You can tell your parents, I love you. Because they go home,
that
they go to work feeling like better about themselves, or like
yeah.
you tell
Well,
people like what you like.
so to that I will say I'm not saying don't, because I'm a advocate for showing love to your family members. Like, and even if they're like completely unaccepting, like I still no one in my family is unaccepting of me. But if I were and I was in a situation where I had to have to like detach myself fully from them, even then I would have love for them, and I
Mm-hmm.
would love them. It would just be like, maybe
Yeah.
they weren't my family at the end of it all. But um, oh man, what was the question you just asked again?
Uh,
Community
yeah.
service, saying love you. I was just gonna say, depending on the family dynamic, it's really hard for some people
Yeah.
to like even get to that
No,
point.
no, I'm not saying like force yourself to love someone who doesn't make you feel good about yourself. Like,
No, no, no,
you
yeah,
shouldn't lie to yourself. You
yeah,
shouldn't lie to them either if you truly don't 100% feel that. But like for me, like my parents, like, I felt the love, but like I didn't feel like I showed it enough because I really suck at like expressing my emotions to them because it's so hard. So like by doing that, I like let my mom know I do love you. I'm just this way, unfortunately, like unfortunately I'm a little closed off and I do want to get closer, but right now this is the best I can do. I can tell you I love you. And that's community service for me and for you because now you know that you're loved by someone. You know that like that question behind your head is gone, that like whether or not you loved your children enough. I never wanted her to feel that because it's like you did what you had to do and it was tough.
yeah.
And this is my one way of telling you I love you. And then so little things like that in your family, or like telling them things at the end of the day, like, hey, I had a pretty like decent day, like tell me about yours, like what happened today, or like if
Yeah.
they're up for it, if you have that
You know,
relationship.
this is how I know I have like a lot of work to do. That like when you're saying these things, I almost want to take them personal. I almost want to be like,
Bitch, don't fucking tell me
yeah.
what to do with my life. The fuck, you want me to love my family? Absolutely fucking not.
Like, do you know? Nah,
Do you know
because
anything about the family?
it's just because it took me a long time to even be able to say I love you to my
Yeah.
family members, and we don't say it to each other very often. Granted, like if you say it, I guess they say it to each other. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
say it as much, But yeah, like I know that's when I'm like I definitely have a lot of work to do, but I know that you're saying this just in general, like
Yeah, I mean, if you have that relationship and ability to do that, yes. Or if you have friends that have become your chosen family, or have become part of like your whole family that makes you feel nurtured and safe, tell them you love them. It doesn't have to be romantic. Say like, my life wouldn't be the same without you. And I'm so fucking glad you're here to support me. And hope I'm showing that support and I'll be doing better as of today. Cause you don't have to promise all that and shit, but like you can think it. You can think like, I want to show this person I fucking appreciate them by being a better person myself. Just that. And, being able to tell them that like, like I support you and everything. If there's something that's going on in their life and like you're like that confidant that's like they always tell their secret to. Now you can kind of be like, hey, I want the best for you, but like maybe it's probably not a good thing to be doing this to yourself. Or like me, like when when I think of love for myself or like community service that would have been nice to have when I was younger is like you being told like at an early age, because I'm an alcoholic, is like you don't have to drink. Drinking is okay, yes, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it to make yourself feel better, because guess what? You're gonna fuck everyone up when you drink. Like, you know how like enraged you are when you drink? Like, you should know better, you know? And those are acts of community service we can do for each other, where we're like at least showing each other, like, hey, you know, when you do this, like, it looks like this. This is why your family acts this way with you. And like, it's hard to hear that you're kind of hard to be around, but I've been told that, and I'm thankful for it, because now I'm like easier to be around people.
Am I hard to be around? Is that what's going on right now?
What happened?
Am I hard to be around? Is that what's going on right now? No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, like being having family and friends being able to tell you that is so important, because they know they want growth for you. But there is a difference between support, like the one I'm talking about, and like people being fucking condescending for no reason. Like, let's say you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you're kind of happy, and like you're taking it slow, and they're telling you something like suspicious about them, but like they don't even know who they are, or like they haven't even met them, or they're like disencouraging you from pursuing it because they're no longer gonna have you as a friend. Like, that should be like, your friends should want to be happy for you. And that's where you find growth with your family and yourselves. And so that's why I say, like, show love, talk to each other, tell each other you want the best for each other. Like, you should want that for your friend. And if you don't, then like, don't call yourself their friend. Just call yourself their, like, I don't know, wall at that point. Because it's like, you know, walls hold people back. So if you're going to do that for them, call yourself a fucking wall. Like,
I think a lot of people feel insecure about throwing stuff like that out there.
yeah.
If they've been hurt before, especially like in terms of friends or people that might not have like the typical family dynamic
Yeah.
where like their families, like they don't even have contact with them because they
Yeah.
just don't.
They don't communicate. They don't get each
Yeah.
other. And
So
like,
like maybe their actual family is more of like a close friend group.
yeah. And that's absolutely perfect. You don't feel like alone. You should appreciate those friends more, because you're part of their crew too. You're part of their family. And like, they should stay part of you. And you should appreciate them, because it's like, then that just makes you feel like, oh, my family can be just taken away.
Yeah. I
I
think there
like,
I think there's a difference between, and this might not have necessarily everything to do with what you were saying, but there's like a difference between um you throwing yourself and doing so much for someone and then you end up getting hurt,
yeah.
and there's a difference between that and like being very open with like the people around you, like
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people give themselves emotionally to people very quickly, like especially when they're looking for that type of connection and then they get hurt, and then after getting hurt some people just get very jaded about the
Yeah.
whole process, so they don't like to open up even with their friends.
Yeah.
Like especially a lot of people, like friends like at a young age are just fucking dicks. Like sometimes I would hang out with people, it's like, and like we would just do weird shit to each other, and then like after a while you just don't talk to someone, and then you know you find new friends and
It gets weird.
it gets weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a weird kid, so most people would disengage with me, which is fine, because like I was pretty fucking weird, which I'm like, okay, maybe I needed the public shaming to like be like understanding that like maybe I shouldn't do that weird shit. But it would have been better for my growth if someone told me directly, like, hey, you're pretty nice, but like this thing you're doing, like the kicking the dirt, like it's getting in our eyes. Maybe you just chill. And then I'm like, okay, I'll stop kicking fucking dirt. My bad. Like little dumb shit like that. Like just being advised. Like, hey, just as a heads up, like this ain't cool. Like, and don't pick on my friends like this. Like, being told actively for your own good is good, you know? And it shouldn't feel like an insult, but like if people are insulting you, definitely feel insulted. But like, we need to do a better job as people, like, tell like what is insulted, what is an insult versus like a critique of like what should be better, like what
Yeah.
can I contribute as a person, you know?
Yeah. I feel like I have a good grasp on that. Thanks to like the line of work I've done for so long, which is just working
Retail.
retail. So like in retail, you have to be open to being told what you're doing wrong and take it in a way where you're owning up to it, you're taking responsibility, and you're using it to grow. You're not like necessarily looking at it as a failure. But a lot of people, they hear critiques or they hear something where it kind of makes them feel like exactly what you were describing, like it makes them feel like they're not doing good enough in a way.
Yeah.
Or they
And
make themselves feel that way instead of taking it as like, hey, this is what you can work on.
yeah.
Some people hear it's like, oh, you're doing shitty.
Yeah.
And I feel like I for a long time made myself feel that until someone, a very good boss of mine, like I used to work for like 3 years. She like started telling me things like, and this is such a typical saying, but at the same time, it makes sense. It's like, choose your battles. Like, you don't want to just choose what you get upset about. Like, it's not,
Hmm.
if it doesn't really require that much attention, don't give it that much attention.
Yeah.
Um, and just, take everything as an opportunity, like a stepping stone to like really the next better thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't take things as
Personally.
personally. Yeah, that's the best way to say it.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it's like when I take things personally, like too far, it's like I'm reading too much into what was actually said.
Yeah, that's
And then
yeah.
like there's another part of me that like tells me to like stop taking it personally when it's something that I should take personally, where it's an actual insult. So like I've had to like take time to like analyze that because there was times where like I felt I have a struggle with this. It's like me like needing to understand like when someone's being like mean versus when someone's like actually trying to help you like improve yourself. Like there was a few times with my mom where it would just feel like, well, technically she's right, but like it hurts how she fucking said it. Like, for example, like if someone didn't wash their dish, she would be like, I don't know why you guys don't wash these fucking dishes. Like, you're just leaving them here and you're leaving there for me just to come home and wash them after I get home from work every fucking day. Like, how
Guilty.
is like being like, and she'll curse us out and she'll be like, oh my God, son hijo de su chingada madre, no hacen nada. ¿Qué van a hacer cuando yo me muera? Like, what are you gonna do when I die? Because you guys are so fucking useless. And it's like, oh, why did we deserve this? Like, why did you tell us this way? Like, what? You know? And like, if she had just actively told us, like, hey guys, come over, let's have a talk by the kitchen. Like, I like for you guys to notice when something's not done yet and clean it up before I get home. And even as I'm home, because we're all part of this family, I'm actively doing this by myself too. I would like your help because we're a team here and we're all trying to contribute. This is all our home and we deserve to have it clean and healthy because if not, some of us get anxious like me because I'm just one fucking
Yeah,
person.
that's something that even in my family dynamic, we're not very good at communicating with each other. So if stuff was laid out like that, it would have. Well, I don't know. We're also at a place now where we're starting to be able to have that kind of structure.
Yeah.
So maybe in the past it wouldn't have worked out. Even if like there was clear communication, maybe there was, and I'm not remembering it correctly. So it's like sometimes I choose what I actually want to remember.
Yeah. And then with that, with those kind of memories, like when I'm getting criticism at like by people who don't have my best interest, I'm just kind of like, I'm like, you're not technically right, but it's making me feel bad that you said that and that you think I'm wrong to do this, you know? Or like for example, one of my friends, we were coming out of the market and I was driving off. I was driving my car and like it was when I would have EBT for like getting food stamps because I was broke and didn't get enough food from like just my like part-time job while I was doing full-time at school. And so we were coming out of the market and like there was this homeless guy like on the corner, like before we were exiting. I'm like, oh, here, give him apples, because I'm like, if I could just feed someone one fucking time, like he could just enjoy those apples by himself. Selfishly, I'm happy with that, because like he gets to have that to himself out of being like just fucking dehumanized the whole day like a fucking beggar. I'm like, if I could just give someone that little bit of joy of like just feeling like a person again, like I want that. And I was telling my friend who was in the passenger seat, like, can you give him the apples? He's like, girl, don't waste your money. Like, don't give away your shit for free. Like, he's just gonna like he's not gonna appreciate this is your fucking food. And I'm like, excuse me, you're not gonna tell me what to do with my fucking food. This is my food and I'm happy to share, because I know that man is fucking hungry. And the last thing he needs is fucking people saying that in a fucking car. And like, you're going against my personal beliefs. And I bought those with my EBT, because like that's my part of like being able to feed someone a little bit after struggling so much just to get fucking food stamps, I'm having to prove how broke I am. And I'm like, this motherfucker doesn't even get that because he doesn't have an address. He doesn't have school. And like, what? Like, how am I not gonna be able to like contribute to that? And this boy tried to stop me to do that. And that insulted me as a person. Like, how fucking dare you? Like, no, those are not the friends we want. And then like, I nagged at him and told him, like, you don't fucking tell me what to do with my fucking money. And even if it's the government's fucking money, it's gonna be used for something good, because obviously you don't fucking appreciate that, like, I have this benefit and we have this benefit and ability to get this benefit.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that with what you did have, you thought of giving that. And like the way you explain it makes so much sense. Like, it's like it's a form of dehumanizing, and if like you can just do one small gesture, it's like you can literally go up to a homeless guy and just like like ask if you can embrace him, just like you're human.
yeah.
Like, and like and that
I
might
wouldn't
sound
recommend that the first time.
no.
Maybe after a few feedings, you can maybe ask to give them a hug.
Feelings.
No, because like these are people who are probably not psychologically okay
You're
from
right.
being dehumanized. That
I
they're like,
just
what does this
imagined.
motherfucker want to do to me?
I imagined
Like that's what I would react if
instead
I
of like
was
a
like,
stray cat that you're trying to bring home, it's like you're bringing
you're
the
not gonna
homeless
fucking
guy.
hug
You're
a
like, come
fucking
on,
cat.
dude.
Like,
And you bring it out every night until he's finally not skittish enough to walk in.
no, yeah. And like, that's what I would do. And I'm like, I would have like homeless people here and there that I would see every other day. And I would like go and like take them an apple or something. And like, some of them were really nice. And like, I had to stop because one of them told me, like, hey, I noticed this one motherfucker following you every now and then. So like, you need to stop coming through here. I'm
Oh
like,
wow,
oh my fucking God. Like, I'm really that dumb that I didn't notice that, but this person did, and they were nice enough to
that's
tell me.
awesome. That's
And
amazing.
like, regardless of me feeding them, I was like so thankful, but they risked their food for me. They risked their source for me. And I was just like so thankful for that. Like, fuck, like, if you're nice to homeless people, they will like thank, like, just having little gestures that make them feel like a
Yeah,
person. Like, you don't just, I recommend not filming it ever or taking pictures. Like, I could
yeah,
never do that, because for me, it's like they're not having a great day and they don't want to be on fucking camera. Like, that pisses
yeah.
me.
And
Whenever I see those
there was
videos,
like
like, I'm like,
there's been like a whole wave of like, and it's been like multiple years of different types of waves where like people give money to like homeless people or buy stuff from them or make them over, but it's all to make a video. I think one of the most notable ones is like one by a YouTuber called Mr. Beast.
mm-hmm.
He has this one where he has like a whole story he talks about where the advertisement company was going to give him 5,000. He told them, give me 10,000 and I'll walk outside, film myself giving it to a homeless guy. And they end up doing it and it goes viral. He did it in a way where it wasn't necessarily being like abusive, but I've seen so many other ones where it's like literally some guy named Vitali, he like came with a truck and started giving out sandwiches. And then like there was so many people asking for a sandwich, they started getting around him, and then he's like, "Get away from me, get away!" and starting to like throw punches and stuff. And it's like, dude, like you should have thought like
You should have thought about the No, you
It's
should
just like
not
a
have
crazy
left.
situation
Yeah.
that you shouldn't have let it get to that point, period,
No,
you know?
like you shouldn't have been alone either, or like,
No, he was with other people, but like they obviously didn't have enough food, and they were like just like selectively giving it to whoever.
yeah, no, don't do that.
It's just, yeah,
Like if it's just one person, you just happen to pass by them and they got lucky, like that's good, like
yeah.
little things.
Also, you open yourself up to a lawsuit. Obviously, I don't
Yeah,
want to be like that's like the capitalist in me. Like,
yeah,
they could sue you, dude. They'll be like, I got sick and the food he
yeah,
gave me. So be careful out there.
yeah. And so
I
just
hate that I just said that too, because it's like saying the exact opposite of what you were saying. Like, I just like seeing all the points, I guess, even if I don't believe one as strongly.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine. Yeah, don't film yourself giving food to homeless
That's
people for like
dehumanizing.
just to feel good about yourself later, to prove to people that you did it. Like it always like bummed me out when I would see people like, oh yeah, look, I did this and like I gave this person like this much money and I met them, they're homeless, or they'll take pictures of them and like the homeless person obviously looks distressed and they're like, okay,
Wait,
like
like a family member showing you a picture, like a selfie they took with a homeless. Oh, I gave him
I
$5, $10.
would see some Instagrammers do that.
Oh,
Or like,
that's intense.
yeah, like I love that people want to be supportive, but it's like there's literally programs that should like help prevent this from ever happening. Like there should be no homeless people existing. Like
No, there shouldn't
no,
be. I
like
mean,
no.
yeah, I think it's true. There shouldn't be. Um, will we ever get to that future? I don't know, but
I don't
I
know,
li-
but
yeah, I like that we can have conversations about it and like we can discuss certain things and open our minds. And I don't know. I hope that we hear other people talk about it and
yeah,
maybe like we can comment on what they have to say.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's like I get anxiety about like thinking about this stuff because like it like bothers me that as a society there's a homeless person. The
Yeah,
fact that there is one homeless person at all in a population is like a failure of the society itself. You may think like, oh, it's because they failed, but it's like everyone around you made you believe that. But collectively, had you all like chipped in for like $1 every other like month, like you could have just helped that person not end up in that situation. Like there's so much value in just like as a community giving a tiny bit, you know? And like I just want people to like just giving a tiny bit of joy to people like adds so much value to their day. And that's why I say, like, by community service, you can compliment people. You could tell people how good they are. You could tell your family you love them, if you truly love them, like
yeah,
not trying to put anyone in an awkward spot, like tell people who show they love you that you love them. Tell them, because sometimes they're just waiting to know, like, am I even like,
do I matter?
do I matter to this person or do they think they matter to me? Like, do they think I'm just like holding space here?
Yeah, I can
Like,
definitely relate to that. Just because of the way I have been, and I've had anger issues in the past, and still deal with some of the like remaining characteristics. I feel like, but definitely have to learn how to maneuver that.
yeah,
You know. On that note, I say that it's been a good conversation. I
yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah.
I still need to. I said on the first episode that I needed to do the walking club, and I have
Mm.
not done it. So it will happen.
But the fact that you can talk about it and maybe encourage someone else to go out for a walk is good.
That's true. That's what I want. If I can get one person to go out for a walk 3 to 4 times a day, I'm happy. And if I can do it, that's even better.
Yeah,
So, not even better. If both happen, it's even better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe make it a date thing where you go out with your friends walking. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to come over for a walk? I want to walk.
Let's walk.
Let's walk to Raspados.
Also, I will say raspados de
Yeah.
limon.
The chamoy or like tamarindo. Anyway, what were you saying?
Well, before we
And
end, I just want to it's not a spoiler alert, but I just want to mention that we're doing a book club with a couple friends of ours,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be cool to see how we incorporate it with the podcast pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can do like a little segment of that nature. But yeah, we're gonna start doing like a book, maybe do 4 books in 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even more depending on the book. So just stay tuned if you
I
want
can't
to.
read.
I'm gonna do audiobooks. Probably not. That'll take too long, I feel like.
No.
I mean, if you can't read, it'll be faster. So there you go.
He'll be my podcast.
I'll just read it to you. I'll read out loud. Let's do. You want to do that?
No, I can't hear. When people are reading out loud and I'm not reading along, I can't. I have ADHD, babe.
Okay.
We have ADHD.
We do have ADHD. Yeah.
Take a chill pill.
Hey.
You have too much faith in me.
On that note, catch us next time.
Have a good night. Get some rest. Eat a moon pie.